The Chief Executive of Rape Crisis Scotland has apologised to survivors after a damning review found one of its centres failed to protect women-only spaces. That led to the resignation of the centre's Chief Executive, Miradel Wadwa, a trans woman who was criticised in the review. Sandy Brindley said the appointment had become controversial, but believes there is no inherent reason why a trans person can't work within a rape crisis centre. She has spoken exclusively to our reporter, Fiona Stalker.
Since 1976, Rape Crisis Scotland has helped thousands of survivors of sexual assault. But a damning report last week said the charity's centre in Edinburgh had not put survivors first and failed to protect women-only spaces. That report led to the leader of the Edinburgh Centre standing down. But there have also been calls for the Chief Executive of Rape Crisis Scotland, which sets service standards for member centres, to resign.
To any survivor who didn't feel able to access the service at Edinburgh, I would apologise, and I'd also apologise if we haven't been clear enough at Rape Crisis Scotland that our absolute priority is making sure that every survivor who needs a rape crisis service will get the service they need.
Earlier this year, Ros Adams, who worked at the Edinburgh Rape Crisis Centre, won a constructive dismissal case against her former employers. The tribunal found that the CEO at the time, Miradel Wadwa, a trans woman, had conducted what was described as a heresy hunt against Ros Adams and appeared to believe she was transphobic. The later review said Wadwa failed to behave professionally and did not understand the limits of her authority.
Was there not any point that you could foresee controversy with the appointment of a trans woman to an organisation like Rape Crisis?
I think it definitely did prove to be controversial. I was not involved in that appointment or that decision, but what I would say is that most rape crisis centres in Scotland, not all, but most, provide support to men, women, trans people and non-binary people. So there's no inherent reason within that you couldn't have a trans person working within a rape crisis centre. I think what is crucial, however, is that if you do have a rape crisis service that is supporting all survivors, that there's dedicated women-only spaces within that, so that survivors that need that, and I absolutely recognise that that is a priority for many women.
The review found women-only spaces at the Edinburgh Centre had not been provided for 16 months. Referrals were paused at the centre 2 weeks ago when the review was published, but Ms Brindley said concerns were first raised last year.
Why wasn't that failure picked up for 16 months, do you think?
I discovered the situation in Edinburgh last October. The leadership team met with me to tell me about the circumstances leading to their forthcoming employment tribunal, and I was really concerned by what they told me, and it was apparent from that meeting that they were not following our standards and they were not following trauma-informed practice, in my view. So what I did was I requested an urgent meeting with the Edinburgh Rape Crisis Board, and I asked them to conduct an urgent internal review into policies and guidance around the support service at Edinburgh.
What would you say to survivors of rape and sexual assault who are watching this about what you can guarantee about the future of the service that they may need to access?
What I would say to any survivor who's listening is that our service is here for you. You can rely on us. We will meet your needs where your needs are.
Well, our chief political correspondent, Lindsay Bewes, joins us now. Lindsay, Sandy Brindley has said she will not be resigning from her role. Do you think this has put an end to the matter?
Well, Laura, Sandy Brindley had been facing calls from a Conservative MSP here at Parliament to resign from her position. Sue Webber said that Rape Crisis Scotland needed a complete reset, a change of culture. I do think after that interview today, there will still be questions over governance and oversight. Sandy Brindley said that she wasn't aware the Edinburgh Centre hadn't been adhering to national standards until October last year. But that independent review found that in the 12 months prior that the service hadn't been protecting women-only spaces. Now tonight, For Women Scotland, the campaign group, have said that Sandy Brindley must have been asleep at the wheel if she didn't know anything until last year. And they are saying they agree a culture change is now needed and she's not the one to instigate that.
So where does this go from here?
Well, this case sits against the backdrop of the wider political debate and societal debate over gender issues, the rights of trans people and the rights of women and girls. Now, some say that this case has exposed a desire to prioritise gender ideology over women's safety in an organisation that should be firmly focusing on the latter. Others say it should be possible to provide an inclusive service that also protects the rights of women and girls. Now, that debate is, I think, going to continue for a long time here at Parliament and also outside of Parliament in society. There's no sign of that going anywhere anytime soon.
OK, Lindsay, many thanks indeed.